evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are here tonight to honor a man who doesn't know the meaning of the word fear, doesn't know the meaning of the word quit, and doesn't know the meaning of the word rest. Maybe we all should chip in and buy this fellow a dictionary. And with that, I would like to welcome you all here to the appreciation night for Dr. Rev Allen Tysick. My name's Archie Mellon.
My name's Barry Fawcett, and tonight we'll host this evening. And Alan, unlike the adult play, we've written the script and we'll be the directors tonight.
This evening of tributes and songs will show our love, respect, and deep gratitude for 10 years of tireless work and dedication to the surrounding community.
The speakers this evening will show the wide range of community events Alan has been involved with over the years, and also illustrate over the course of the evening just how fortunate the people of this community are to have someone as multi-talented as Alan. Before we get started with the evening, there's a special person here we'd like you all to meet. I'd like to ask Alan's mother to please stand up and be recognized.
I would like to introduce to you our first speaker from whom most of you know, but for those of you who are out of town and are not quite familiar with this gentleman, like myself, I would like you to meet Lauren Mellon, Reeve of Matilda Township.
Gentlemen, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen. When I looked the crowd over tonight, I wondered what was going on here, but I guess we all know why we're here. We're here to pay tribute to a man who has came to our community some over 9 years ago and been involved and willingly and seemingly anxious to help anyone and everyone within the community. He's so anxious to be any place at any time that he was traveling to Williamsburg one day and the police officer stopped him. Told him he was driving a little too fast. Well, Alan said, I have a special meeting that I got to attend. I don't want to be late for it. Well, the officer said it just like this, sir. Tomorrow morning the papers may read the Reverend was late, or they may read the late Reverend. Alan has showed that same type of enthusiasm ever since coming here. He read in the newspaper that Helen Gilmer needed some work done around her house, so he immediately went over to the back door and rapped, and Helen welcomed him in, and Helen said, I'm here to reply to your ad. Oh, good. Helen said, are you pretty good at carpenter work? I got some kitchen doors I want fixed up. Well, no, Helen said, I'm no good at fine work like that. Well, how about plumbing? I got some leaking valves and taps. No, he said, I always skin my knuckles if I go to use any kind of a wrench, and I might do more damage. Well, I got some receptacles that the fire jumping out of every time I plug in an element. Helen said, no, I can't touch electricity. It has a terrible reaction. Well, Helen said, what on earth did you come over here for that ad for? Well, the ad said you wanted a handyman, and I don't know of a more handyman than I am. I'm right across the backyard. Just to speak this evening on behalf of the township and welcome all of you here. Some of you for as the MC said, from out of town, and came quite a long distance, and we welcome you to Matilda. And I was asked to speak, and then I got a letter confirming that I was going to have only a limited time. Well, I wondered how on earth could you tell everything that Alan did, good or bad, in 3 or 4 minutes. So I immediately had a verse coming on, and with a little help from a resident of Matilda, or a former resident, I composed what I think would be rather appropriate for the occasion. Dear Alan, it's an honor to represent Matilda on occasions such as these, even though my tongue wraps around my tonsils and I'm shaking at the knees. Yet I congratulate the committee and all workers far and near for organizing this party. It's a pleasure to be here. And Alan, you're responsible for bringing this about just because you're leaving Brinsing and moving one concession south. I'm sure the township fathers are pleased to be so nigh, even though on some occasion we didn't see eye to eye. Yet imagine how we'll miss your planning and organization of township-sponsored gatherings for Remembrance Day commemoration, or ecumenical services that to our winter carnival relate, in which the residents so enjoy and eagerly await. To our township, you brought recognition as Citizen of the Year. Somehow we've been wondering if your fame spread far and near. All for these famous Christmas plays used for CHIO contribution, they surely would place Hollywood second in your talent and production. So with greetings from Matilda, may you reign supreme, and with God's blessing and guidance, realize your dream. Of the ambitions you hold uppermost, as up life's ladder you climb, may it prove to be a resounding success and fulfillment sublime. Always remember Allen excellence is oft recognized on the front page, while hard work is only rewarded at a later stage. And thrice happy then, if some souls can say, we live better because you passed this way. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your words, Lauren. I'd like to now introduce Mr. Lionel Ramkari Singh. He's come from Ottawa, and he's the chairman of the official board of Bell Street United Church, and I guess we all call this Allen's home church. So if you would, Lionel Ramkari Singh.
Mr. Chairman and friends, it is for me a very great pleasure and delight to be here to speak on behalf of the minister of our church, Reverend John Moore, and the congregation of that church, and to express to you our very sincere thanks for your very kind invitation to be present here tonight, to honor and to show our appreciation to one who has meant so much to us and to you in the person of Dr. Allen Tysick. Allen is no stranger to me, for he has been a student minister of our church, guided by no less a person than the late Reverend Morgan McFarlane of revered memory. Ever since he was a member of the Bell Street United Church, he became a favorite with the young people and the elderly of that church, who even up to now hold him in very high esteem and respect, in so much that we have earmarked him to be our guest speaker for our coming anniversary in February of next year. I want to take this opportunity on behalf of my church to congratulate him on his election as chairperson of the Montreal-Ottawa Conference, and to wish him well in that assignment. When the church and the community join together to honor a man of the cloth, it must be that he has generated so much love and affection in this area that you could do nothing else but to show your appreciation in such a magnanimous way by this large attendance here this evening. This is proof positive of the fact that Allen means a great deal to you here, as he has meant to us at Bell Street. It is my hope and the hope of my church that you, Allen, and the community here will continue to prosper and to grow in strength. And I hope that God's grace will guide you in the years to come so that you will be able to fulfill His mission for you here in this part of His vineyard. Allen has always been interested in the church generally, but to a large extent to the disadvantaged, the dispossessed, and the impoverished members of society. And it is no surprise to me to learn that he now intends to devote his time, almost full time, in that area of his work. It is my hope that he will prosper in that work with your cooperation and with God's guidance. We therefore congratulate him and to hope for him that all his goals may be achieved, his objectives may grow and prosper, and that God's richest blessings will follow him all the days of his life, so that he will continue to serve his people with faithfulness and justice to all. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Lionel. And we'd like to read this telegram at this time now, if we could. Dear Alan, all of us here at the OPP headquarters were sad to hear you were leaving the pulpit, but we are overjoyed to hear you are staying in the area, so we will still be able to make our monthly quota. Staff Sergeant OPP. At this time, Alan, we'd like to perform this important duty. We were going to ask you up here, but we'll come down. That should be it for the evening. I hope you won't get too fast from there on in. Our first entertainment for the evening is a local church choir. I introduce to you for your listening pleasure the Princeton United Church Choir.
formerly with the Hope Farm. I'd like to call it around the place.
Persons, head table guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's a real pleasure to be here tonight and share some reminiscences with you of my association with Mr. Trudeau in the back there. I've never been able to write a speech, and I've been sitting down thinking for the last couple of weeks what I was going to write down tonight, and I gave it up because with living and working with Alan has been a sort of a rich and varied sort of a tapestry. So I thought that I would just reminisce with you a little bit about some of the things that Alan and I have been able to do together, and a great pleasure it has been to work with him. I met Alan, when my wife was a member of the CWL, went across to the United Church in Chesterfield to hear some fella come and talk about the poor. And she came back to me and she said, there's this United Church minister from somewhere over in the bush there, he deals with the poor. And I thought, that's interesting, because at that time I had a flatbed truck with 4-foot sides on it. It was loaded with clothes so high that the front end was off the ground. So I phoned Alan up the next day and I said, you interested in a few clothes? And Alan said, yes, we could use a few clothes. And he said, if I'm not here, he said, just put them in the garage. So I said, fine, we'll be across. We loaded his garage. He couldn't get in that night. So I thought to myself, that'll kind of sort things out. We'll find out what sort of a fellow he is now. And a couple of weeks later, I ended up with another load of clothes because I was hauling them into Ottawa at that time. So I phoned him up again. I said, Alan, how's the clothes situation? He said, you got some more? I said, yeah. He said, bring them over. And so that started a relationship that has gone on now for the last number of years. And a little known to myself at that time, and probably to Alan, that with that beginning of loading his garage with clothes was to lead through many things. And finally, just recently, right into the Premier's office in Queen's Park, representing the poor in rural Ontario, which is dear to Alan's heart. And it's been a great privilege to walk that walk with him. When I first got to know Alan, I had just come down here from Ottawa when we started at Hope Farm. I feel a little lopsided. I'm talking to one side of the audience here. If you don't mind, I'll move a little bit. Alan and I got together. We used to meet once a week, every Thursday morning, I think it was, at 9 o'clock, and we'd spend an hour together. And that's how our relationship grew. And we talked about many things. And one of the things we talked about one time was that maybe we should go and knock on some doors and tell people who we are. And so we talked about that for a few months. We were kind of a little chicken in that department. But anyway, one day we decided to go out and knock on some doors. We'd spend a month doing this. And there's Alan and I, a pair of big grizzled-looking bruises. We went up and we knocked on this door, and our hearts were going like this. And nobody threw anything at us, though, because we were invited into many homes. And we had a great time together. And I think that some of these things that I'm telling you illustrate the sort of person that Alan is. He will undertake new projects. He's always game to try something new. And later on, as we got on into Hope Farm and I got into difficulties negotiating the farm, it became very emotional for me, and I couldn't handle it anymore. I couldn't deal with the people who I had to deal with because it was too close to me. And I was telling this to Alan one day in the dining room of the Manchester, and he says, well, don't worry about it. He says, I'll do it for you. And so he stepped into the breach for me, and he did it for me with one of the other board members. And I've always been deeply grateful for that. And any opportunity I have now to try and step in the breach for him, I'd be delighted to do so. His desire to serve the poor has always been with him and has grown and grown, and I've seen it blossom over the last couple of years till finally he made the decision to move in the direction he has moved, where he wants to live and work and walk a walk of faith to help the poor. And I am so grateful to see that happen in somebody that I cannot express it in words. I have to tell you that Alan, over the last 2 or 3 years, has become a brother to me in more ways than one. We are brothers in Christ, and I think we will be so until the day we die. And I've been very grateful for that relationship, because without Alan's help, I'd have never got through the last couple of years with Hope Farm. It was a very hard walk, and I was supported by my own parish, and I was supported by the parish that I worked in.
But when it got down to the down and dirties, when I was really hurting spiritually and emotionally, it was Alan that was in the breach. It was Alan that the Lord had put there to help me through that time. And so this is the sort of man he is, and I know this is the sort of man he will continue to be. And I would hope and pray that he will continue in this way to the end of his life, which I'm sure he will. And we'll do everything in our power to help him in that walk. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Bradley. That was very enlightening. Our next speaker is a member of the Family Study Department at Seaway District High School. I would like to introduce to you Sandra Decker, please.
Not everyone's 7 feet tall. It's my pleasure to be here this evening to represent Seaway District High School and to honor Alan. Over the past 10 years, my path has crossed often with Alan, and most of it happened in the halls of Seaway District High School. I hear it is very good that he was there as a chaplain and not as a driving instructor, but I only know this by other sources. None of the students have shared that with me. Alan has always had a warm, caring, inviting nature, which encouraged teenagers to speak with him. In the process of the discussions with the teenagers at school, not only were problems solved, but I saw self-esteem being raised. And by raising the self-esteem of our young people, Alan is helping raise adults for our communities whose self-esteem will continue to grow. Teenagers who feel better about themselves make more confident, caring, community-minded adults in the near future. Alan's past and present successes are marked by his sense of determination. He sets goals for himself, and he goes about attaining them. He encourages the youth of today to do the same. He also knows that sometimes along the road, some people don't think that you're going to reach your potential, and they happen to share that fact with you. Well, Alan has persisted, and he tells our young people to persist, and all you have to do is just go out and try your hardest and prove to the people that said you couldn't do it that you certainly can. I'd like to take this opportunity to share a special story that Patsy Henry told me. Patsy and Don Henry have a little boy named Bill, and Bill had been taken to a specialist, and he had been diagnosed as having autistic tendencies. So Don and Patsy Henry's minister suggested that perhaps they go and speak to Alan. And Patsy shared with me the fact that through Alan's encouragement and by speaking to Alan, that he recommended they get another opinion, and that parental support definitely can make a difference. So Patsy and Don were pleased they spoke to Alan, and his advice and encouragement has definitely made a profound difference in the life of Bill Henry, as it has in many of our lives. Alan redefined, if you look at him this evening, he redefined the term clowning around for me. His sense of humor and his unique clown sermons are an innovative approach to spreading the word of the Lord. We have been very fortunate to have Alan with us in our community over the last 10 years. We are extremely fortunate that he is planning to stay in this area, hopefully for many more years. I'm sure Alan's pool table will see many more games, and he will continue to touch the lives of the young people as well as many people in the near future. I wish Alan all the best in his new endeavors, and God bless.
Thank you very much, Sandra. For conference and different kind of meetings and stuff in Montreal. And here a couple of weeks ago he went up, so he decided to stop at a restaurant for lunch there. And he was sitting in the restaurant in his booth, and he happened to be sitting beside two ladies in their own booth, and he overheard their conversation, and they were talking about their work as nuns. And Alan was really intrigued by hearing these two women talking about their work as nuns. So he got up from his booth and went over and introduced himself, and he said, "I can't believe you two ladies are nuns." He said, "You're dressed so casually." And the one nun said, "Oh yes, we're dressed very casually, but we're wearing very religious undergarments." And Alan said, "Oh." And she said, "Yes, cross your heart bras and no nonsense pantyhose." Our next piece of entertainment is going to be the Dixon's Corners Public School Choir, and they're all young people from Dixon's Corners area.
I
It is indeed a pleasure to hear such talented and very young talent in our community, and we'd like to thank you very much. This talented lady we have next has performed at a wide range of events covering all areas of the community, from her own country and western band to singing at special church functions. We are pleased to have for you tonight Mary Perry.
Joyful Sound for giving up their spot in the program for Joyce and I here. And it's not on the program, but this is a friend of mine from Prescott, Joyce Lindsay, and we get together and sing whenever we can, so I hope this is going to sound okay. I'm satisfied with just a cottage below, a little silver and a little gold. But in that city where the ransom will shine, I want a gold one, that silver line. I've got a
Thank you very much, Mary and Joyce. We certainly enjoyed that. Our next speaker is a lady that whose own community spirit and zest for life is a match for Alan himself. I'd like to call Mrs. Joan Zambergen on behalf of senior citizens.
Well, I'm not as talented as a lot of other people, but I do my best. Dear Alan, on behalf of all the seniors in Matilda, I would like to thank you for your help in many ways during the time you were serving the Matilda Church of the United Church of Canada. For your prayers for our sick, for your comforting words in time of sorrow, for the joy in faith which is your way of service to the Lord and to us all. And now I wish you on behalf of all of us God's speed in your new endeavor. It is not really new to you, but that part of your work will be greatly expanded. We know it is your wish to help people who are in need, whatever kind of help, and with your talent, I would say you are chosen by the Lord to do this work. However, we do hope that we will see your smiling face from time to time too, and our prayers are with you. And on a personal note, I would like to thank Alan for all he has been for Fred and myself during the last 10 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Zambergen. Our prayers go out to you and your family in this time of this most difficult time for you. The youth is a very important part of our community. Alan has recognized this right from the start and has worked extensively with them. On behalf of the young people of the community, I would ask Debbie Cooper to come forward, please.
Well, so far you've heard all the good things about Alan. I'm just going to let you know what exactly he does do with our youth group. No, it's not going to be that bad, Alan. Don't worry. You don't have to leave yet. Well, from the start, we never had a youth group, but in 10 years' time now, we've had 2 youth groups through Alan's help, the High Seas and the Young Rascals. We had a bit of a rolling start at first, so we started, well, maybe we can raise some money through car washes. I don't think we washed too many cars because Alan had the hose most of the time. There's quite a few wet kids there. But the first thing that came to mind when I was asked to speak here and tell some of the things that we most remembered about Alan, well, I'd have to say the first swimming trip we went on, we were out in the middle of nowhere. We'd seen this red stoplight. Alan's going, get in the car, come on, quick. And you know Alan, he doesn't just sit 6 people in his car. There must have been at least 10. So of course, all the kids just paying attention, sure, we'll do what he says. Runs out around the car and gets back in. You should have seen the faces on the drivers behind us. We found out later it's a Chinese fire drill. It's news to us. The youth groups have raised a lot of money over the coming years, and a lot of it was given to the church and the local activities. One of the main ones we had was the bike-a-thon. This was a yearly tradition. Not only the youth groups participated, but some of the older members also. I'm not going to say how old, but... Well, you see, Alan has the speed in cars. Well, it works on a bicycle too, because you know how much speed it takes to get up over an overpass? Well, Alan got so much speed after having his dinner that he went clear by Charlene's meal to another checkpoint and went right home. But we did, however, raise over $500 that year for the Vacation Bible School for our churches. It seemed so appropriate that during all the winter months, it was speeding time on the Rideau Canal. So, of course, everybody brought their skates to Alan just shortly before departure. But the only thing, Alan never told us how good he really could skate. So all the kids are saying, gee, why is there a sculpture every 50 feet here on the canal? But they weren't sculptures, it was Alan sticking in the snowbank. That was how he stopped. Another tradition that we had was the High Seas Young Rascals went together for a costume party and Halloween dance. The chosen place that we had was above Alan's backyard garage. It was a little shaky and dirty. We spent the day cleaning up, but I think we had a lot of fun. And by the sounds of that roof up there, I don't know if it'll hold another dance or not. We'll just have to try it out again and see. But I must admit, all the chaperones came and had a lot of fun, especially Alan in his costumes. You can never tell which one he was, because there must have been 5 different ones in one dance. Finally, we convinced Alan after many years of skiing. Come on, Alan, we need you to go downhill skiing with us, right? Well, Alan says, fine, I'll try it once. But he came down the hill on all fours. Alan, it was only $6 for an hour lesson. Like, it was no big deal. And they need all the snow they can get up there at Edelweiss. Alan was the first minister that came to us and gave us the idea of sending a representative to Kairos. So far in the past 4 years, they have Kairos every 2 years. The first one was in BC, where my brother went to it. And 2 years ago, it was in Ottawa, where Tracy Hanson and I participated. It was a wonderful experience, and I hope our next minister will urge the young people to participate also, because we became involved in the church more and more. I became so involved, Alan got out of doing the sermon that Sunday. And every year, all the young children from all ages look up towards Alan's annual Christmas party. It seemed as though as one person left the age group, at least 10 more were coming. They were coming out of the woodwork. One of the biggest events was having the piñata hanging up on the wall, full of candy. We had to hit it with a stick. Of course, as soon as it was broken, all the kids were there. We had a lot of fun times there, sang songs, but gave Alan a migraine headache, I think, a couple times, but the rest of the parents for a little while. Lastly, we couldn't have made it through our musical fanfares without Alan as our MC for the evenings, but if you watch that videotape, just remember, don't come running to Dawn to cry, because we gave you the chance to sing on stage, but you didn't take it. Even if it was only Mary Had a Little Lamb. But on behalf of the High Seas Young Rascals, I'd like to thank you for your leadership and support throughout all the years that you've been with us, because we couldn't have done it without you, and especially the rest of the youth in the community. I feel I can say that you've given us a better outlook on life and what it's all about. We'll never forget you, so take care of and keep in touch with us, okay? The youth of the community, the High Seas Young Rascals. Thank you.
Alan's been so busy with all these community events that sometimes the work at the manse gets a little behind. And Alan thought there a few years ago, well, you know, this is ridiculous. He's going to put an ad in the paper and see if he can't get a handyman to come in just for a couple days or something, you know, to maybe do a few things around the thing. So he put an advertisement in the paper for a handyman. The next morning, a well-dressed young man came to the door, and Alan looked at him and he said, "Can you polish the silver, wash the dishes, and keep the house picked up and the lawn mowed?" And the young fellow, he looked at him and said, "Well, yeah, I guess I can." He said, can you have the washing done and hung out to dry and breakfast ready at 7 in the morning?" And the guy looked at him and said, "Yeah, I guess I can." But he said, "Look," he said, "I just come here to see about getting married. If I got to go through all this," he said, "I'm not even going to bother with it." We have up next another talented group that will bless us with their singing. As a matter of fact, my other partner in crime here sings with them, so we'll have to excuse him for that little indiscretion. But I'd like to introduce to you now the Hulbert Valley Choir. next guest, this next guest is a very important guest, and we are fortunate in this area to have a shelter for troubled families. And I would now like to introduce to you Judith Running from Naomi's Family Resource Center.
Alan has been involved with Naomi's Family Resource Center in Winchester in one capacity or another since September of 1985. At that time, Alan joined what was then a steering committee to look at the feasibility of setting up a shelter for victims of family violence in the rural three United Counties. In November of 1986, this steering committee became a board of directors, and Alan was a member of this first board of directors until April 1988. His contribution in time and energy, as well as his wonderful sense of humor, was appreciated by his board colleagues. While a member of the steering committee, he was instrumental in the naming of the center. I'm told that he was asked who the first woman mentioned in the Bible who was a victim of wife assault, the answer being Ruth. The committee, however, not liking the name Ruth's Resource Center, which is hard to say at the best of times, was told by Alan that Naomi, Ruth's mother-in-law, gave assistance to Ruth as well as to other women, so the name Naomi was felt to be appropriate for the new center. My first contact with Alan was when he phoned me to arrange a time when I could be interviewed for the position of executive director of the center. That was in February 1987, just shortly after the center opened. When I arrived in Winchester for my interview several days later, I realized that this Reverend Tysick must indeed be a very busy man and have an awful lot on his mind, as he neglected to tell me my interview was scheduled for 9 p.m. And being a businesswoman, I showed up at 9 a.m., 12 hours early. Since that time, and particularly during the first few months that I was at the center, Alan has been a good source of information and referral. But more importantly, he's been a great support to the center and to me. It's my pleasure, Alan, on behalf of the board and the staff, to wish you all their best wishes, to tell you to please drop by, come and see us, bring some of your good cheer, and we'd just like to take this opportunity to wish you the best in your future endeavors.
Thank you very much, Judith. Alan works with many people in the community, and I'd like to call Ross Markle up to speak on behalf of some of those.
I'm here on the behalf of my father, Robert Markle. We would like to thank Alan Tysick for helping us, supporting, and has given us help in many ways in building our new home. Alan has shown us friendships in many ways, such as food baskets and caring for the children. Alan always have been there for us like a part of the family. Alan knows how to make you happy even when you're disappointed. He has supported us in many ways. Well, he was here in Brenston's. We thank you, Al. You are one of the kinds. I would like to wish you good luck on your new journey. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ross. Alan helps people, and he also helps the four-legged animals of the community, too. Archie's got a story.
Yes, Alan, he's a do-gooder in all sorts of the areas. Molly couldn't be here tonight, Alan, but she truly misses you and wanted to thank you. For those of you who don't know who Molly is a black lab, and she belongs to the Mellons. And Molly goes to church quite often, sometimes a little bit more than, well, I won't say anybody. But Molly one day just happened to be down at the church, at Hulbert. It's only a little ways down the road, and Alan come along, and he had to get something at the Hulbert church, and he saw Molly there, and he figured, well, I'll do her a favor, and I'll do the Mellons a favor. I'll give Molly a ride home. And he ran in, well, he let the dog in the car, and then he ran into the church, and being Alan, he's got about 30 places to go, and 20 things on his mind, and usually about an hour and a half late, he come back out of the church, jumped in the car, and drove off. Well, it's sort of hard to miss a dog in the back seat of your car, especially a small car, but he did it. And he drove back to the next road to see some people back there, and he got back there, and he realized he had the dog with him yet. He thought, well, I got to go to Ottawa, but I'll run in here, see these people, then I'll take the dog back to the Mellons, and then I'll go to Ottawa. Of course, the dog ended up in Ottawa, driving around with Alan for the day. And that was fine and dandy. The dog didn't mind that a bit. And on the way home, Alan stopped at McDonald's, bought her a Big Mac. She was quite happy. Sat in the back seat eating her Big Mac. And I don't know, Barry, if it's just coincidence or what, but for about 2 weeks after that, we couldn't get her near a car. She was just petrified of a car, truck, anything with a motor and 4 wheels. But Alan, Molly will miss you. I'd like to, at this time, introduce Jane Boyd, Preston Gilmer, and the Matilda Trio. They're been a group that's been in the community and have performed at numerous functions, and we are very pleased to have them here. Jane Boyd, Preston Gilmer, and the Matilda Trio.
I don't want to carry this. Has been a long program and a fitting program. And I haven't always agreed with everything that Alan did. And maybe it's me that's wrong, but I don't think so. I do respect his dedication and many of his ideas, like I said, not all of them, but many of them. We're going to try to do a couple of numbers here, and we hope that they're appropriate. Thank you.
Closer, I pray. Masters Radio. Get in touch with us. Turn your radio on. Everybody please join us on the chorus. Turn your radio on. Turn your radio on. And listen to the music in the air. Turn your radio on. Let the morning share. Turn the lights down low. And listen to the Masters Radio. Get in touch with us. Turn your radio on. Get in touch with us. Turn your radio on.
I'd like to introduce another group that most of you have probably heard. They go by the name Joyful Sound. Bart and Joyce Glency.
I'd like to thank those in charge for giving us the opportunity to contribute in a small way to Alan's evening.
Like a ship without a sail. Jesus, oh Jesus, do you know him today? Do not turn him away, oh Jesus, Jesus. Without him, how lost I would be. Without him, I would be dying. Without him, I'd be unsaved. Without him, life would be hopeless. But with Jesus, thank God I'm saved. Jesus, oh Jesus, do you know him today? Do not turn him away, oh Jesus, Jesus. Without him, how lost I would be.
Thank you, Joyce and Bart. After hearing the music we have here tonight, it sort of makes you realize we have a pretty talented community. And now, from the Matilda Pastoral Charge, we have Dwight Gilmer, who has served as Alan's right-hand man at presbyteries and at church conferences. Dwight, we'd ask you to say a few words now, please.
Adjusted this to, or had Archie adjusted before, but he's so high up there that I just kind of wondered if there's any representatives of any of the surrounding radio stations here tonight. I thought if they were, we might even lose a pair of guys out of the community. There are fellows here are pretty talented, doing a pretty good job as MCs here tonight. But anyway. A little bit written down here, wrote it once and I wrote it again, but anyway, I don't intend to speak for half an hour anyway, so. Well, does it seem like almost a decade that we in Matilda Pastoral Charge were looking for a minister. Anyway, we decided to take just whatever they gave us and see what we got. Anyway, we were informed that they had this young fellow, a very dynamic, energetic young chap, just out of ministry, just right on the bit and willing to go and looking for challenges. So, anyway, Alan came to us, and it wasn't too long we began to believe what we had heard about this chap, because he sure got us going. I guess I should put it that way. We at Hubbard Valley had just built a new church, as most of you know, and we thought we had accomplished quite a lot, and we're very proud of it. And of course, we were still looking for more progress, and he was going to see that we got. Brinson, I don't know what I should say, they didn't want to be outdone by Hubbard, so between with them, they decided to renovate their church, or to redecorate and redo their church, which they did a marvelous job and made it into one of the most picturesque architectural structures in the Matilda Pastoral Charge. And I think with Alan at the helm, or at the pushing on, they sure did a wonderful job. And Alan, along with the others, I sure need a lot of credit for this. It wasn't long that we began to get well known in the community as well, as very well proven by the attendance here tonight, with us, so many people from around the community, from outside the church, and it's very obvious that he was a great community worker. Along with this, it has been said earlier about all his work and his accomplishments. In this, he went on to get his doctors in divinity while he was here with us, and he couldn't hardly read or write. I told a little story about him before when he was reading the scripture in church. Sometimes you weren't just too sure what translation of the Bible Alan was using, but anyway, we overcame that because we got Bibles put in the church. But his heart was you always knew his heart was there, and always did very well. I was a delegate to presbytery from the charge here a couple of years ago or so, and Alan, I could see then that Alan had gained the confidence of members of presbytery as well as he had the congregations here and the community, because it wasn't long until he was, well, yes, in 1987-88 he was chairman of Presbytery, the Seaway Valley Presbytery. He went on from that, then right the following year, or which was just this past year, in fact just this spring, June, that he was installed as chairman of the Ottawa Valley Conference. I was at this conference this year, and it sure made you feel proud to have your own minister being installed as president, chairman of the conference, of the Ottawa Valley Conference. I kind of agree with Bill Horner. I didn't always agree with Alan and his thinking, and he and I had some heart-to-heart talks more than once, and always enjoyed talking with him and listening to him and telling him what I thought, too. I think, as I said before, there's been appreciation showed by you all being here, and I just would like to say one thing, and yeah, I have another note down here. In conference, if you were asked by anybody where you're from, and you said Hubbard Valley or Matilda, then possibly wouldn't know just where that was. But then if you said from Allen Tysick's charge, oh, I see, that was it. Because everybody knew Allen, where we were. And I would say one thing, that I'm sure there's no minister in the conference who has done more counseling, made more hospital calls, baptized more babies, married more couples, preached more funeral sermons, or got more speeding tickets in the last 10 years. We have certainly appreciated what you have done for the congregations here and for the community. And we certainly wish you God's richest blessing in your upcoming endeavors. And I'm sure that in as much as we hear, well, what's this anyway? What's he going to do? Well, I just say, you just wait and see what he'll do. And so again, from all of us to you, thank you again for what you have done.
Thank you very much, Dwight. Thank you very much for not using up your whole half hour either. I'd like to introduce a lady now that Alan doesn't need to be introduced to, but most of us here wouldn't recognize her. But Barbara Ann Nadeau, and Alan's sister.
I was really hoping this was going to be a roast, but I was told I had to say something nice. I'd like to thank everyone for being here. I'm sure it's really nice for my brother to see everyone here, and it's certainly nice for all of my family. I'd just like to clarify that I am Alan's younger sister, even though I am a grandmother, which makes him quite old. Here tonight is my mother and my other sister, Florence. My youngest sister, Wendy, couldn't be here. She's ill. And we have an older sister, Sylvia, who is not, she's in London, England. I was asked to say a few words, so I asked the family for some input. My mother remembers Alan always bringing someone home. You know, you never knew when, Christmas dinner, or all of a sudden someone would arrive at the door and you wouldn't know who it was. And my mother would always say that she could never get angry at Alan because he always had a certain look on his face and he got away with a lot of things that none of the rest of us would get away with, that's for sure. Florence couldn't think of anything good about his childhood. So she said she remembered a time when she saw him when she was at the Civic Hospital. Alan was visiting a member from the church who was very sick, and she said he looked like he hadn't slept for days. He came to the hospital not even knowing how he was going to get home because his car wasn't working right. Alan was always the type of person that couldn't say no to anyone. She worries about him a lot. Wendy, being the youngest child, and me and Florence always being out on the go, when Alan was ready to go out, there he'd see Wendy sitting by herself. So he'd take Wendy out with him. Wendy really remembers this as a fond memory because it might seem like a little thing, but little things mean a lot. Wendy also remembers Christmas. On Christmas, my mother had a rule that all of us had to go down together. And do you think we could get Alan up? Oh, no. So she remembers that quite a bit. Myself, well, me and Alan are like day and night. Him being night, of course. And then something happened in our relationship. And something really wonderful. I wasn't even sure what it was, except for one Sunday when I came to her christening. My daughter had her baby christened at the church. Alan spoke about his conference. And he spoke about the conference and the people not listening to each other. and being on opposite sides, and were just awful. And he said the last meeting that they had, people started listening to each other, and there was a coming together. And I feel that's where me and Alan are now in our relationship. And I tell you, Alan, it feels really great. We all worry about Alan's future, but we all believe in him. I'm sure as all of you do. I'd like to say, Alan, that we're all behind you, and I hope you're not too proud to ask for help when you need it. He's kind of stubborn. So we all wish you the best, Alan, and I'd like to say that we all love you very much and are very proud of you.
Thank you, Barbara Ann. It's sort of nice to get a little bit of insight into Alan, what makes him tick. I think people are still trying to figure that out too. Is Estella Rose here? Oh yes, we'd like to call on Estella Rose now, Alan. Estella has like to make a special presentation to you, please.
First of all, I'd like to say, I see in the program I'm down as a counselor from Mountain Township. I don't come on that behalf. I guess the word gets around. I have a habit of opening my mouth and putting my foot in it and then putting my words into actions, and that's how I guess I became counselor in Mountain Township. But anyway, I thought you might be interested in knowing I'm also the representative from Winchester United Church to Presbytery. And I went to conference, as did Dwight and a lot of others. And you might be interested in getting a little bit of juicy gossip. Alan gave his heart away at conference. He gave it to 500 is the problem. All of us got a piece of Alan's heart. And I think that gives the interpretation of Alan in a nutshell. He gives his heart to everyone. And I especially would like to say thank you to him because I was chairman of Winchester United Church Council when we had no minister at the time, and we were faced with the sexuality report. I'm sorry to say this whole thing was very foreign to me, and with Alan's help we struggled through and made some decisions that I think our congregation was quite comfortable with, and no hard feelings. And I think one of the things that helped us especially was we put the report behind us and we took another approach. Alan and Bill Bradley's Hope Farm was the one thing that I think pulled us all through, and I'm sure all of you feel the same way. And as I describe Alan now, I say he's declared war on poverty. And I'm sure us at Winchester United, along with everyone here in the room and far and wide, are going to join his army. And I just came across a little poem here that I found, and I think we all need a little shot in the arm. It's exactly what Alan has done over the years, but I think it's a little shot of adrenaline as well. And I'll read that in just a moment, but I'll show you the picture that I took of Alan at conference. It's a picture of Alan with the moderator of the United Church of Canada. This is a hobby I have, taking pictures. Anyone that knows me knows I don't go anywhere hardly without my camera. So Alan Alan and the moderator were two of the people that I so-called shot at conference. Now I can say I've taken pictures of important and famous people. And in looking at the two of them, and I'm sure when your attention is drawn to it, you'll agree, they're two men that had very, very hard childhoods, had difficulties in different ways. The moderator had to struggle even to live. At one point he had to run for his life and then never again saw any of his family. And it's this sort of person that we have with us in our midst as well. And I'm not above seeing that Alan will become the moderator of the United Church of Canada someday. So I'd just like to give this to Alan and end up by reading this little poem that, as I say, is exactly what he's been doing, but I hope it will act as a booster shot for him. And it's titled, Don't Ever. Don't ever try to understand everything. Some things will just never make sense. Don't ever be reluctant to show your feelings. When you're happy, give in to it. When you're not, live with it. Don't ever be afraid to try to make things better. You might be surprised at the results. Don't ever take the weight of the world on your shoulders. Don't ever feel threatened by the future. Take life one day at a time. Don't ever feel guilty about the past. What's done is done. Learn from any mistakes you might have made. Don't ever feel that you are alone. There's always someone there for you to reach out to. Don't ever forget that you can achieve so many of the things you can imagine. It's not as hard as it seems. Don't ever stop loving. Don't ever stop believing. But most of all, Alan, don't ever stop dreaming your dreams.
Thank you, Mrs. Rose. We'd like to thank everyone for coming out this evening and helping to make this a special event for Alan. Alan, don't think that tonight is our way of saying goodbye or farewell. Many of us know you are continuing your work very close to here and are happy to know you'll be around. Let this evening give you strength to carry on and let you know that you have support for the things that lie ahead. You've been our teacher, advisor, minister, and friend. You have given so much support. You have given hope, care, and spent endless hours tendering to our community.
Tonight we have mentioned some of the many groups, organizations, and functions that you have been part of. For those that we have not mentioned, which we are sure there are many, we are truly sorry. If looking over these past years is any indication of your future ambition and hurdles to leap, you have nothing to fear. We wish for you many success and offer you our love and friendship. And as the saying goes, thank God for you, Alan. And with that, we would like to present to you this plaque and gift of money from your community for your future endeavors.
And Jesus took a child, and he placed the child in front of them, and he said, "You see this child? None of you will enter the kingdom of heaven unless you come as a child." And then he said, remember, the least among you will be the first. Thank you from the depths of my heart. Thank you. Thank the Lord for our strength and the gifts of each breath, for we are only dust which he breathes the breath of life into. Thank you once again.
I'd like to call on the groups that have sang this evening to entertain us. They have a special song they'd like to sing for Alan now. If they would all gather together, and if you know the words, I'm going to try and sing. Let's give her our best. Thank you. There are plenty of refreshments. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Alan. Good night, people.